the man of the hour, Mr. Roman Baber. How are you?
Good to be with you, Brandon.
It's great to be with you as well. Thanks for joining me on this Friday. How's your week been?
Nothing much happened. Well,
Nothing
whatever.
much.
It's been a great week, and I'm really, really heartened by the level of support I've received, and people are calling from all over the country, and it's been a terrific experience, and I'm looking forward to contribute to the Conservative Party leadership race.
Well, let's get into it, my guy, because yes, you made national headlines as you announced the fact that you are going to put your name into the ring to become the leader of the federal Conservative Party. So, I mean, the first question I have to ask you is why?
Well, some folks might not know this, but last time I saw you, I walked out your set, and I said, Brandon, do you have any advice for me? You said, Roman, you should probably think about going federal. So there, I listened to you. But Brandon, look, I think our country is facing the type of challenges it hasn't had before, and I like to say I've been very, very blessed. I've had every opportunity as an immigrant to this country. I came here when I was 15 to work hard, to study, to succeed, and now represent the very same electoral district that welcomed me as an immigrant. I'm Exhibit 8 for Canadian Opportunity, and I'm worried that, especially with everything that transpired in the last couple of years, that Canadian opportunity is eroding. A lot of folks, especially young people, I'm sure a lot of your viewers feel that I'm not as hopeful about the future as I have, and I refuse to allow Canadian opportunity to be eroded. But even more importantly, I think that Canadians are feeling a deficit of trust in government. No one believes anyone anymore. I'm known to speak my mind. I say what I believe, even if it's not very popular. And I do what I say I'll do. And I think that that's important. And finally, we got to restore some balance to our democracy. I'm really not comfortable with censorship, with the fact that we have limits on mobility because people made a different medical choice than you and I have. I'm not comfortable with the fact that it seems as if Canada's democracy, our ability to speak out and practice fair citizenship and residency is eroding. So I'm going to restore balance to Canada's democracy.
You know, Roman, I want to ask you because the past few leaders of the Conservative Party, they've all had to walk out with L's on their foreheads because Justin Trudeau has continued to prevail. I want to know, like, how do you unite a party that's kind of fractured in the way where you have social conservatives with strong religious beliefs, and then you have fiscal conservatives who want to make sure that the country isn't spending or overspending its resources, but that tent doesn't seem to be big enough to unite to overthrow the Liberals. How do you do that if you were to become leader? What's your plan?
Brandon, that's an excellent question, and I intend to unify the Conservative Party of Canada, and I'm going to do that by entertaining and allowing and welcoming free and fair discussion. I've suffered from a deficit of democracy within the caucus that I used to serve in, and that's the Doug Ford Conservative Caucus provincially. I was asked to leave the Doug Ford Caucus because I spoke out against the lockdowns in January 2021, saying we need a little bit of balance between COVID, which is a very serious infection, versus the collateral harm that the lockdowns are causing. And I was asked to leave caucus. Well, that will never happen in my caucus, and that will never happen in my party. And that means that I will entertain diversity of opinion, something that's lacking among the Conservatives. I will never have a litmus test for candidates. People and all Canadians are free to speak their heart, free to speak their mind, and that means that I will welcome them into the tent. With respect to social conservatives, I think it's important that we remain democratic conservatives. People should be allowed to run. I will not tell a member of parliament that they're not allowed to introduce legislation. I'm not their boss. Their constituents are their boss. We have to attract back conservatives that feel disillusioned with the fact that the Conservative Party didn't stand up for them against lockdowns and passports. I'm going to appeal and bring them back. We have to stand up for the West by saying, look, I'm not going to allow energy and clean Canadian energy, oil and gas be canceled. I want to develop natural resources. They're a blessing. It's better to do that instead of paying rogue regimes for their energy, and doing it in Canada is better for the planet. And so I'm of the view that we can balance interests and welcome diversity in our party.
All right. I have to ask you this question because it is something that continues to plague the Conservative Party. When it comes to that freedom of speech, of course, there are some beliefs, religious beliefs about people's right to who they can marry, who they can love, also about sexuality. Those are, poignant issues that a lot of Canadians want to ensure are not brought back up for debate, that people can feel comfortable being who they are. How do you balance that? Because there are people who are conservatives who believe that marriage should be just between a woman and a man, or that people should not have the right to abortion. That's still in the party. So how do you balance that with also trying to broaden the tent for the conservatives?
Well, I respectfully disagree with some of the folks that you've cited, but I
Mm-hmm.
can't impose my own opinion on them, and we can't impose our own opinion on people. With respect to the LGBTQ community, I think people are people. I've always believed that. And personally, I respect people's choices. I respect
Mm-hmm.
people's healthcare choices, just like I did on the question of whether I'm pro voluntary vaccination. I'm vaccinated myself, but I never thought that we should force anyone to do anything against their will. And so, how could we apply that to people's healthcare choices? People make their own medical decisions, and I don't think it's the role of government to tell them how to grow their family or when to grow their family. And it's certainly not the government's role as how to start and form a family. It's not the role of government to interfere in people's personal lives. That's not what you pay me for. And so, but nonetheless, I will make a very genuine effort to say, look, we might disagree on
Mm-hmm.
social questions. I don't think that's what I'm here for. I don't think that that's what you pay me for. I'm concerned with restoring trust in government so people know that I say what I believe. I'm concerned with restoring Canada's democracy because we're really lost balance here. The fact that Canadians still can't get on a plane or a train, or the fact that Canadians have to be afraid to speak out for being censored or potentially canceled. It's this cancel culture that caused some of, I think, the major mistakes of the last couple of years. I'm focused on allowing people to speak.
Alrighty. Now, I mean, to get to the leadership and to get the crown, you do have to go through a few other stiff competitors, including Pierre. Also, another very popular guy. I would love to know, why would you make a better leader compared to Pierre?
Look, I like Brandon. I generally like everyone, even folks that I don't get along with politically. And I would say that every single candidate right now in the Conservative race would make a better prime minister than Justin Trudeau. And if Justin Trudeau leaves, we need to hold this Liberal government accountable, irrespective of who's at the top. As I said, I like everyone. I think that what distinguishes me from the field is that Canadians clearly know where I am at all times on all issues. I'm not afraid to speak out against ideology and cancel culture. I was the only one that spoke out against the lockdowns when it was very, very politically unsavvy to do so because I decided that I'm going to put people before politics. And I would like to encourage that culture in government in the Conservative Party. It's something that I will demand from the Conservative Party. We want to know, where has the party been in the last 2 years when we create a mental health pandemic, when we refuse to speak out for folks whose surgeries have been delayed, when we saw that deaths from overdose are almost double, but regretfully, the Conservative caucus would refuse to speak out against Justin Trudeau when that was needed, and Canadians will know that they'll never get it with me. I will not be afraid to tackle the tough issues of the day.
Okay. You said all the people in the race right now who've put their hat in the race, they would all make better prime ministers than Mr. Justin Trudeau. But I want to know, why would you be able to beat him? What's different about you?
You know, one of the things that really disappointed me with the current prime minister is his politics of division. To say that he's afraid of other people or to demonize people that made a different medical decision, when we clearly know that the vaccine does not prevent transmission, does not prevent infection. And it's very, very important that people understand vaccines certainly reduce risk. And that's why most of us had the choice to vaccinate. But that doesn't mean that we make any other Canadian, do anything against their will. And that means costing their ability to put food on the table, denying them employment insurance when they were let go because of a mandate. I think that's inhumane. But worst of all, it's this politics of division that Justin Trudeau created, where we are told to fear and dislike our neighbor or exclude them from society, exclude them from transportation, exclude them from access to federal venues. I think that's un-Canadian, and I would like to end this politics of division first and foremost. And second of all, I want to restore Canadian opportunity. Justin Trudeau talks about basic income. I think that Canadians want to earn an income. Justin Trudeau talks about the fact that they have to feel supported by the state. Sure, we provide a safety net for those that can't work, but those that can, we need to encourage young people to believe that the Canadian opportunity is plenty. We need to get out of the way and let people earn a living and start a business and dream big. We've got to help them by perhaps allowing for more federal land to come on board to buy a home, maybe increasing the RSP deduction. We have some of the lowest beds per capita in the world. We need a serious capital investment in Canadian hospitals to increase the number of beds. It's something that I look forward to speaking to the provinces. And I want to invest in transportation and roads to build new communities that young people can afford. We have a lot of work to do ahead of us, but this Prime Minister is too busy dividing Canadians.
Do you think because you're coming from Toronto, which is a big city, a multicultural city with a lot of urban issues, that there's a different perspective you can bring to a party that sometimes is seen as a little bit more rural? Nothing wrong with being rural, but as the country becomes more urban, and so forth, it seems sometimes there's been a disconnect between where the country is growing and where the Conservatives have put their feet in the ground.
So, you see this pattern with some of the federal leaders and provincial leaders as well. They run one way during the leadership, and then typically to the right, and then during the general election, they pivot left to appeal to the center. I'm not going to do that. What you see is what you get, and that's why I build a brand where people know where I stand, and that's not going to change even if it's tough. So I'm not going to pivot to try and appeal to the rural base and then subsequently go to urban base. That's not me. And what I would propose is we need to appeal to more people, and urban Canadians like myself who previously haven't found a home in the Conservative Party because somehow we felt that we have to stick to northern and rural issues, and that's not true at all. Young people want an opportunity to earn a living and succeed independently. Those are Conservative values. Young Canadians care about home ownership and the ability to move places, travel places. So that sounds like transportation and infrastructure. That's a Conservative issue. So I'm of the view that I'm the best candidate in the race. Coming from, I'm speaking to you right now from my home in North York, in my condo in North York, and I'm going to appeal to more urban Canadians, young Canadians, women, LGBTQ community. We need to build a broad tent in the Conservative Party based on Canadian opportunity and Canadian kindness, and I'm the candidate to do that.
Roman, before I let you go, I want you to tell me something that people would be surprised to know. Tell me something that they don't know about you, and it doesn't have to pertain to politics. Like you could maybe say your favorite food is Jamaican food. I don't know. You tell me. What is something we don't know about you?
I love tennis. I love Beyonce.
Okay.
I'm a huge Toronto Raptors fan. I've been at the very first Toronto Raptors game ever in the city's history, 8 weeks after I came to Canada. My best buddy from high school said the Toronto Raptors are launching tonight. It was a preseason game against the New Jersey Nets, and I saw Patrick Ewing tip-off in Toronto for the first time in history, and I was a loyal Raptor fan ever since. I love this city so much it hurts, and I love my province. I love my country, and I'm just like a normal guy. I sometimes joke, and some of my friends joke about the fact that you see all these Conservative leaders and they're a little awkward, or they start talking nonsense, or they're afraid. No, I'm going to try and be a normal Conservative.
Roman Baber, I want to thank you so much for your time, for joining us.
First of all, I want to invite you and all your viewers to join me at joinroman.ca. And I just want to say as I conclude, I know that it's been really, really tough for folks over the last couple of years. We can overcome this. We can turn the page. It's time for us to heal. Also, our democracy is stronger than a lot of people think right now. And I invite them to join me at joinroman.ca for a brighter future. And Brandon, you always get great advice from me, so call anytime with more advice.
All righty. Thank you so much, Roman Baber, and good luck. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in to this special Brandon Gonez Show Instagram Live. Take care.
Thank you.